During this Thanksgiving, do not forget to go Max.
Be a king when kingdom comes. Well, you can tell everybody.
Yes, of course, this gets that much more worse and that much more interesting as the video continues, as a lot of people are comparing him to the perfect Rogan bro, as there's a lot of discussion about what in the world's happening to Joe Rogan, as it seems like he's kind of distancing himself from the political scene and trying to be more and more of a moderate. Is he getting a lot of pushback? He had some very interesting comments and criticisms of this administration after, of course, kind of rallying for them, especially with a big interview with Donald J. Trump, as Tim Pool has been raising some very interesting questions about Joe Rogan, his commentary, and his analysis, as he respectfully calls out Joe Rogan where he thinks he is wrong in the latest Joe Rogan podcast, where he suggests foreign countries are just influencing us on the internet, and therefore it's just the internet that's the problem. Is it? As of course, I think it's fair to say we're facing massive amounts of security threats, political violence threats. Some people would say even the words civil war-like type of conflict scenarios, especially with CIA Democrats in the Senate and Congress literally telling our soldiers to disobey unlawful orders from the commander-in-chief, whatever that means now. As yesterday's National Guard event definitely has a lot of people questioning, why is the temperature in the room so hot? Why is everything so political? As some people are saying, there's a move now to make it less political, that move being represented by Joe Rogan. We're going to talk about this because I think Joe Rogan matters. I think his commentary, his analysis, where he stands, the issues he takes up matters. And when he is wrong, I think it's important to engage in a civil conversation and discourse in order to talk about that. And I think that's exactly what Tim Pool did. So we're going to play his clip and then the Joe Rogan clip and then kind of give you an overall analysis of what we think is going on here, as well as a clip from Nick Fuentes talking about, hey guys, prepare for the worst. Something that we've been telling you for a while now. And that's why we have very interesting, master classes. We'll get into all of that. If you appreciate these types of videos, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, the video is titled, Joe Rogan is right, culture war, grifters, and bots driving us insane. But then he kind of points out and says, well, no, actually, I think Rogan has some analysis that is kind of wrong here as he describes kind of personal situations that he's been going through. And again, we're living in very strange, weird times that it seems like a lot of the criticism that Joe Rogan is kind of levying against the Trump administration is related towards immigration, right? As a former kind of Democrat from California, Joe Rogan does represent some kind of this old liberal type of conceived thinking that Tim Pool also called him out on. Now, again, some people are saying it's very interesting to see which people Rogan is kind of platforming right now. But when it comes to the ICE debate, I mean, this has even affected the White House spokesperson. As we also learned, Caroline Leavitt's sister-in-law was just captured by ICE here, as she was a 33-year-old Brazilian national that overstayed her vacation visa. I don't know how that's going to be kind of fixed here. As currently on the right, there's big divisions, and the left is having a lot of political success, but also some people would say cultural success with the win of Mandani. Is Joe Rogan reading the tea leaves and saying, oh, wow, the power is shifting, the influence is shifting, I need to do it as well? Or is he trying to kind of save him face for what he sees as a backlash against this administration and what's going on here? That debate, I think, is worth having in the chat room as we play and do this video. Now, here's Tim Pool himself in the 10-minute mark of this video, kind of making his point more concise here after playing this Joe Rogan clip.
The ultimate point I make. While Joe is correct in identifying that they're trying to get us to hate each other, this is what I have to counter. He says, if you're online, you're being spoon-fed this. Well, if you're not online, who are you?
That's true. Everyone's online. Name a person. The Amish. The Amish are not online. They also do a lot of unorthodox things that some people say, really good for them. But everyone is. Now, there is an argument to make about echo chambers and these type of kind of algorithms that serve content that are not just meant to invoke emotion, but to not counter people's ideological beliefs. All right, and listen, the algorithms, most of them, especially when it comes to the big companies like Alphabet, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, as we've learned, what we can and cannot see, what we can and cannot discuss is essentially in the hands of our intel agencies that have been using and abusing this personal power for themselves and allowing the government to have massive power grabs. As I think a lot of this type of divide and conquer agenda that I've been calling out, that I've been studying and researching and talking about for a very long time, started right after Occupy Wall Street. Now, for Occupy Wall Street, being there on day one, right, seeing everything kind of unfold and transform, you saw in the very beginnings, before it was hijacked and taken over by the Soros leftists and like communist liberal factions, you saw in the very beginning of this pro-right factions, pro-left factions, populist factions being like, this banker bailout stuff is insane. This was as soon as Barack Obama came into power, the great kind of unifier that just continued to do the same things as the old guard did, as the old presidency did, as the Bush presidency did, as of course a lot of those similar programs that were very much against middle America were just continued. Banks, blank checks from the Federal Reserve. We confronted the head of the Federal Reserve about this. And nothing. Secret bailouts, trillions of dollars just being moved, people being financially wrecked here, massive amounts of transfers of wealth from everyone else to the billionaire class. And it was conducted and done under Barack Obama, right? Facilitated by, of course, George W. Bush. That just kind of gave them the perfect kind of setup and the layup and dunked, and we're screwed. And don't worry, the big banks, the big institutions, they'll get bailed out. You pay the price. There has to be winners and losers, and Barack Obama and the old guard and the establishment, some would say the deep state, chose the winners as the banksters. The losers, you and everybody else. People were pissed off. People from the right and the left came together, and for a moment, I think, scared the crap out of it, and then instituted the programs to hijack Occupy Wall Street, which I think they did successfully. Then what we see is an increase. White, bad. White people, bad. Black people attacked by white people. And then movies, depictions, TV shows, commercials, almost every form of entertainment highlights this kind of bastardized, insane point of view that Tim Pool later brings on and talks about how there was a black person that he was hanging out with that was scared to be in West Virginia because he thought white people would come out and attack him. An insane delusion. How many people get killed by cops that are black males? Very low number. How many black males kill black males? Very high number. Statistics that are even skewed because many blacks in jail are being categorized as white. Before getting deeper down this rabbit hole and playing the rest of this Tim Pool clip and this Nick Fuentes clip and reacting to it and telling you about what's kind of really going on in our social discourse, just really quickly and shortly, sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. You could sign up and give someone a gift for Christmas, and they get master classes. Now, this one right here, the Apocalypse Survival Training one right here, very important. You could download it with one click of a button, so you could have it on your computer, even if you don't have Wi-Fi, even if you don't have internet, because we teach you how to prepare for anything and everything. Solar flare. Something happens. You're going to need to live in the middle of the woods. You're going to need to learn how to defend yourself. You're going to need to learn how to set up camp, how to build camp, how to navigate, how to filter water, how to start different forms of fire. All of that available on LukeUnfiltered.com. 50 plus videos, amazing, very important videos. And again, that's one of the 3 masterclasses. You get 3 masterclasses, 13 plus years of video exclusively trying to make you the best, most amazing version of yourself. Merchandise that is too spicy to show anybody, all available. And then a Discord link coming soon. One of my employees has been slacking on that. We're working on making sure we're setting up the best, most secure, most amazing chat platform where I will be directly talking to you. And you guys will be a part of this newsroom. And we'll be able to make it happen. LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Sign up right now. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and it means the world to us, especially when it comes to the kind of YouTube adpocalypse kind of scenario that we're all dealing with here right now. Okay, let's continue on, play this Joe Rogan clip because I think it's important in full context here. As Joe Rogan says, it's not left for right. It's you know, most people just want the same thing. Well, no, not really. There's a big cultural shift and rift here, right? With people who believe in religion, people who don't believe in religion, whose religion is the state or corporate America. And then there's people who just want to be left alone, live in peace, live off the grid, and not be tax regulated and ruled over like a bunch of peasants. That's the kind of big kind of cultural divide here. Farm people and needy city folk that live off of the farm people. That's the big divide. There's a reason. I got chickens. I have a garden. I'm taking care of it. That's the big divide. That's the big divide. And it's not left or right versus right. And it's not a byproduct of the internet. It's a byproduct of what I believe to be a concerted effort by the intel agencies that have infiltrated almost every form of entertainment to spew and push this type of divisive nonsense. And it doesn't matter if you're online or not, the propaganda will go to you, especially if you're a black person where you're going to be propagandized that white people are there trying to just hunt you down and kill you and hurt you and take advantage of you and do all this horrible things. Then they're responsible for every poor decision that you made yourself. Every horrible, stupid, idiotic thing you did. White man guilty. Whitey. I robbed a liquor store. Whitey. It's white people's fault. And then it's like, you're gentrifying by moving in. What are you doing? Then it's white flight. You're moving out. What are you doing? Like, what do you want me to do? Leave you alone, but I'll leave you alone. Oh, wait, we can't do that because we all live in one type of civil society that is becoming less and less civil to each other.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but we were hanging out with a black dude recently, and this is not the first time it's happened. He asked, am I safe out here? And I was like, he didn't say it to me. He said it to some of our crew. And we were like, is he joking? No, like he was for real. This poor guy, man. He's a good dude. He's a cool dude. But he really was led to believe by the narrative machine that if you drive out to West Virginia, white people will kill you. This is insane. And when Joe says if you're online, you're being spoon-fed this, dude is not an online guy. This is what happens when you're not online.
That's true. And I would argue a lot of people that are hearing this message and Tim's message are being de-radicalized. Heard Charlie Kirk's message, and that's why, the taking out of Charlie Kirk, I think, was so kind of methodical. The biggest benefit, some people say, Candace, I disagree with that. The biggest beneficiary of Charlie being taken out are the Democrats, are the liberals, are the party of the CIA. Why? Because now the right attacking each other, right? That's the whole. There's a huge vacuum of power. It's like Iraq. The main kind of central political figure collapses. More people are moved to more radicalized areas, and then there's like people vying for power, attacking and taking each other out, which is ridiculous, right? Ever since ever since I saw the infighting, I saw Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes fighting like a couple days right after what happened to Charlie. I'm like, guys, stop it! This is ridiculous. As of course, yes, there's an argument to make about the internet kind of persuading and pushing people to have more type of drama and fighting. And a lot of the internet now is like Jerry Springer type of slop, which I'm kind of exhausted with personally. But anyway, Tim continues.
And so my point is, there is no escape. MSNBC, CNN, whatever. This is the narrative that exists in this country. If you are not online, you're not fact-checking, you're believing the water cooler rumor mill.
Yeah, if there ever was a de-radicalization tool, some would say it's the internet. Some people would say it's the opposite of that. But when it comes to like those medium of the road type of voices are like, hey man, like calm down, relax. When it comes to people being able to communicate more with each other, I would argue overall, it's not the internet that's the problem here. As again, it's a double-edged sword. It creates the problem, but also it solves the problem, right? But there's a lot of other things in our society that propel a lot of the propaganda, nonsense, and lies that isn't just on the internet.
And so what happens? There's a viral video from a few years ago where they interviewed people at the Venice skate park in California. How many unarmed black men do you think were...
Yep, and listen, people are just told, oh yeah, these people are just out there. And then when you look at the statistics, it's so crazy because it's absolutely the actual opposite of that. You start to look at the statistics and the narrative machines that are being run, right? And all the movies and all the subconscious subliminal propaganda. You look at every movie, white guys are evil, either the evil protagonists, the evil villains, sociopathic, crazy people, or they're the predators, or they're fat, stupid, and dumb, right? That's the only roles white guys are getting now. And the opposite perception is being persuaded here, right? And then these people, especially in liberal leftist cities, they live in this kind of delusion where it's like those evil white men. And they get kind of regurgitated this propaganda and nonsense internally, externally, through movies, through entertainment. As, of course, now it's leading to the escalation of political violence that I think is being done deliberately. As Nick Fuentes even talked about, listen, we're going to see more of these type of violent attacks. And for me personally, it's horrible and it needs to stop, right? And we need to do everything. Put the brakes on it. But guess what? We're not putting the brakes on it. We are escalating it very severely. And I thought Nick's comments here were pretty accurate as well about what's happening in our system.
When Thomas Crooks shot Donald Trump, every psycho in the country noticed. And they saw the infamy, and they saw the potential. And when Luigi Mangione...
It was called the copycat effect, right? And this is what I've been screaming about, being like, what is the media doing, lionizing? What is the government doing, lionizing and glorifying a lot of these individuals when, of course, if someone runs on a soccer field, they never record and show that person. Why? Because it creates more people to do the same. And if they did, they would just have people just running on into the sports arena through the playing field just to get attention because they get attention. A lot of these sociopaths, a lot of these crazy people, that's exactly how they act here. And Nick's points are important to make here, especially when it comes to comprehending and understanding everything that's kind of unfolding here.
shot the CEO of United Healthcare, the way he was lionized, the way he was sexualized. Every psycho, again, noticed, and they started devising their plans. They started scheming.
This latest DC guy that took out the National Guardsmen, former CIA Black Ops type of super soldier program in Afghanistan. Oh, nothing to see here.
And ever since then, we saw the assassination of Charlie Kirk, attacks on ICE, National Guard. Now this, it's only going to escalate. It's only going to get worse.
I hate that he's right, but he is. And that's concerning. And that's why, one of the reasons, I saw the writing on the wall. Like, that's why I started to teach people how to defend themselves. One of the things that we talk about in the Apocalypse Survival Training Guide, lookunfiltered.com. But if you're one of my friends, you have been invited to a self-defense class that now I help facilitate. I usually play the bad guy. It's fun training. Just, I'm learning self-defense now. And I have been for the last few years. Why? Because the world is just becoming very unpredictable, very unsafe. And self-defense in this type of world now, I think it's sort of a necessity, sadly.
And it could be organic and it could be fake. It could be fake to exacerbate organic violence. At a certain point, it takes on a life of its own. They light the fuse and the whole thing blows up. So it's a scary time. Everybody be safe. Holiday season's coming up. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Christmas soon after that. Got to be careful. Have to be vigilant because things are not as they seem. These are strange times. Drone attacks. I've been saying this. This is my next prediction. Screenshot this. We are going to see a drone-based terror attack on a mass gathering, I would imagine within the next 18 to 24 months. It's not hard to predict that. It's not hard to see that one coming. Russia's making 1.8 million drones per year. Ukraine is making...
It's not just that. It's also anti-aircraft tech and surface-to-air missiles. Oh, just out there. A lot of it is just missing, especially in Europe, filled with a lot of migrant gangs and groups that have ties to some of the most radicalized, craziest people in the world.
Making millions of drones. It always happens like this. You think all those weapons are created? Some of them don't wind up in the hands of the wrong people? Can't control it. People aren't ready. So I think we're due for another very turbulent period of time in our political history. But
Yep, he's not wrong. I wish he was wrong. General Flynn also talked about November 16th, how he's concerned about terror attacks at home. Life is short. Life is worth protecting. It's getting crazy out there. I think this is far more of an important conversation than just get off the internet. You do, which is now impossible to do. It's not going to help and solve anything. The problem is far more sinister, in my personal opinion, than just people being online. That's what I think. Respectfully disagree with Rogan, but at least we're able to have a very interesting conversation because of him. Thank you so much for watching this independent media broadcast. Thank you so much for signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. It means the world to me that you do. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/Luke Radowski 76. Sorry, it's a long name. I apologize, but it's a new channel. Thank you so much for being here.